Bonjour, bonsoir, and welcome to another video. Welcome to another episode of Radio New Manchester. This is Richard, the owner of the New Manchester YouTube channel. And in this episode, or another episode of Radio New Manchester, I lost count, of all the other Radio New Manchester episodes that I did. So I think the first ones were the first batch were really bad. Let me see if I can do some better justice in this one. Well, in this episode of Radio New Manchester, I'm going to talk about the Eurotunnel. Yeah, the Eurotunnel. An undersea tunnel that's underneath the English Channel. And it's in Europe. It connects the United Kingdom with France and the rest of Europe. It was constructed in 1988 and it was completed in 1994. It opened in 1994. So 2024, which is last year, marked the 30th anniversary of the Eurotunnel. So this thing is going on very strong. It's providing a connection with the UK and the rest of Europe, excuse me. Providing a connection between the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe. There's 2 Eurotunnel stations. That's right, there's 2 Eurotunnel stations. One in Folkestone, England, in the United Kingdom, and the other in Coquille or Calais in France. In France, France's Eurotunnel station in Calais or Coquille, as the British would say. I won't say Calais. The Eurotunnel, not the Eurotunnel, but the Eurotunnel station in Calais in France. It's way bigger than the Eurotunnel station in Folkestone, England. And this thing, the Eurotunnel, which is underneath the English Channel, is a marvel. And it is. It's a marvel of human engineering, construction. It cost a lot of lives with some men building it. People who want to use the Eurotunnel, who want to go from the UK to France and the rest of Europe, or people who live in countries on the European continent, can travel from there, where they are on the European continent, all the way to the UK. And they can do that by booking a trip with the Eurotunnel. I guess going online to book the trip. Then they go to the Eurotunnel station on either side of the English Channel to confirm their trip on the kiosk at the kiosk booths, so they can confirm their trip on the kiosk that led to a ticket or a hanger being printed out, so they can hang that on the mirror that's mounted inside their car, which the mirror is mounted on the windshield or windscreen. After that, they head to the car park or parking lot to park their car in the car park, to look at the billboard that shows their number. If their number is shown, that means they got to go to where the trains are to drive their cars on onto train cars that takes vehicles from the UK to France, or from France and all of Europe to the UK. Yeah, transporting their road vehicles from one side of the English Channel to the other. And there is a height requirement for their vehicles. If their vehicles are centimeters tall, then their vehicles are considered high vehicles, and they got to drive their cars into a train car that accommodates high vehicles. But if their vehicles are centimeters short, therefore they got to drive their cars onto train cars that houses vehicles that are centimeters short. And the high vehicles are known as buses / coaches, caravans, etc., and some regular vehicles as well. I heard that the trip takes about 30 minutes underneath the English Channel, and when the train pulls the train cars with vehicles in them, and also passenger cars where people are sitting in seats. Yeah, train cars that have people sitting in seats, passenger train cars, and train cars that transport people's road vehicles in the owners of the road vehicles, yeah, from one side of the English Channel to the other. And when the train starts out moving slowly, but when it gets into the undersea tunnel underneath the English Channel, speeds for that train will reach up to speeds of 100 miles per hour, or a metric 160 kilometers per hour. When the 30 minutes are up, then the people are at their destinations. And people who have road vehicles, they are informed by the PA, the intercom, in the train car that houses vehicles, road vehicles. They are told that they gotta drive slowly out of the train car, and they gotta remember that if they're in the UK, they gotta drive on the left, or if they're in France or in other parts of Europe, they gotta drive on the right. Some Europeans get confused over this. People who drive on the right in countries on the European continent, when they get to the UK, they try to drive on the right, and they realize that when they drive on the right side of the road, they're going the wrong way, and they're heading towards oncoming traffic, and hear beep, 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 beep from other cars. They move to the left side, realizing they got to drive on the left, and vice versa. That happens with people from the UK. You know, when they come from a country, where they drive on the left, where they come from a country that's a left-hand traffic country, and they get into countries like they get into France, they drive on the left, which is the wrong way, and they're heading towards oncoming traffic, and they hear cars coming towards them, beep, 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 beep. They move to the right side of the road, realize that they're in France, and they're driving on the right. And systems of measurements and units, the imperial system and the metric system. So road users from the European continent, they got to realize that the UK is imperial, and the UK uses both imperial units and metric units. meaning that the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland uses the imperial system and the metric system. But the imperial system is the preferred system of measurements in units, even though the UK switched to metric a long time ago. Yeah, they got to switch everything in their car from metric to imperial, and vice versa with people in the UK when they're heading towards mainland Europe, they got to switch everything in their car from imperial to metric. The Eurotunnel is very, very interesting to me. If I was in Europe right now, if I live in France right now, and if I want to go to the UK, I'll have a choice if I have a car with me, I want to drive my car on roads in the UK. I can take either the Eurotunnel or a ferry to head to the UK across the English Channel. That won't be the only option for me because in Europe you got good public transportation. People can take the train, the tram, buses. They can walk. They can ride their bicycles. That's just in countries in Europe. That's not through the Eurotunnel. Well, the Eurotunnel, people can travel through the Eurotunnel through a bus that drives onto the train cars of the Eurotunnel train, or they can take a passenger train and sit in it. And the choice of taking their road vehicles from one part of the English Channel to the other is not the only option. Because public transportation in Europe is pretty good, and it's way better than the U.S. because here in the United States, car dependency. People are dependent on cars to get to where they need to go. And if you compare the United States with countries in Europe, okay, in the U.S., the United States is a huge country, massive. I mean, for instance, if you want to drive from Shreveport, Louisiana, all the way to San Diego, California, yeah, it's going to take a long time. But in Europe, in Europe is a different story. You got good transportation. There's no need for you to have car dependency because there's a lot of transportation options besides the car. I mean, you can take like I said, you can take the train, or you can take the train. You can ride a bus. Those two options. You can travel to different countries in Europe on a bus and also on a train. And to throw in some Winston Wu logic, in Europe, in any country in Europe, if you're riding a bus or a coach, or you're on a train, you have the opportunity to socialize with people. You have the opportunity to talk to people. Yeah, you have the opportunity for social or human connection. You can meet people, get to know them, connect with them, form friendships. If you're a heterosexual male who's single, it's a great place. It's a great thing to meet that special woman, that special someone. Something that you can't do here in the U.S. because here in the United States, you're isolated in a car from everybody. You have the opportunity to meet people from different countries in Europe. You'll meet people from countries like Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Cyprus, Greece, Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Denmark, Switzerland, Deutschland, Germany, Belgium, Belgique. You'll meet these people if you're on a train or on a bus slash coach. The Eurotunnel is very, very fascinating. It's very fascinating to me. The Eurotunnel and the train of the Eurotunnel. All this is just eye-opening to me. You know, I've seen videos of people traveling through the Eurotunnel on the Eurotunnel train. That's right. I watched some videos on YouTube in the past and saw people from different countries in Europe riding the Eurotunnel train and going through the Eurotunnel in it. Some old couples from Britain and some younger people from countries on the mainland European continent, mainland Europe. The young people from mainland Europe and not the UK, they were traveling on a flex bus that went through the Eurotunnel on the Eurotunnel train, and they traveled from mainland Europe to the United Kingdom. And they did all this on a European bus called the Flex Bus. Before I end this Radio New Manchester podcast, I want to talk about some things that I saw on YouTube, on a video from a YouTube channel from a woman from Britain, the United Kingdom, or Great Britain. Okay, she talked about it's illegal to transport or bring dairy products and meat products from the UK into France. So it's illegal to bring meat products and dairy products into France. And also, she said that it was illegal to drive your car around in France with no safety vest and a safety triangle. And you know, I heard that in France you got to have a safety vest and a safety triangle in the trunk of your car or the boot of your car. And if the French police pull you over on one of the French autoroutes, autoroute français, they pull you over and check the boot of your car or the trunk of your car and find out that, and they see that if you don't have the safety vest and the safety triangle in the boot or the trunk of the car, they will give you a big hefty fine or arrest you for not having a safety vest or a safety triangle in your car. The safety vest is what the yellow vest protesters in France wore back in I think around 2018, when the yellow vest protesters, the Parisian people who drove cars in Paris, they were livid, angry over French President Emmanuel Macron raising the gas tax, and they went and started destroying stuff in, I think, in Paris. That scared French President Emmanuel Macron and promoted Emmanuel Macron, or forced Emmanuel Macron to go on live TV in Paris to announce that he was going to raise the minimum wage to 1,000 euros, and the Parisians did not like that, and they find it to be incredibly weak and not good enough. That's what I heard. So, you know, I heard this like a while back, a long time ago. So the safety vest, which which the yellow vest protesters wore. The safety vest is for people to put on when their car breaks down. They put it on and they wear that as they change the flat tire on their car, or are calling for help through the SOS phone boxes on French autoroutes in France. And the safety triangle is to put behind your car to warn motorists that you're on the side of the road, or road users. I heard that the laws in the UK and France and other countries that are like it are incredibly strict. I find France to have the strictest road user laws in the world. The UK has strict laws for road users, but they're not as strict as France. And the country in Europe that's not rigidly strict like the UK and France would be Spain. Yeah, Spain. Not spring. Spain. Yes, I said spring. Well, yeah, Spain doesn't have strict road user laws like France and the UK has. Also, in some European countries, well, if you are living in the United Kingdom, well, I heard that if you have currency from the UK and you go to countries like Germany, Germany, or Deutschland, is very, very funny when it comes to money. That's not the euro. So therefore, if you have euros on you and you want to buy something in countries like Germany, Deutschland, or any country that's like it, you won't have any problems, because the standard currency in countries in Europe that are part of the EU is the euro. So that's just basically a problem within the United Kingdom, because the United Kingdom left the EU, the European Union, back in I think back in 2020. I don't remember. Yeah, they left the UK left the EU back in 2020. So therefore, they're not part of the EU. You know, when I went to the United Kingdom for the first time back in 2017 to get on board a cruise ship in Northern Europe with my parents and my sister, the United Kingdom was part of the European Union. And they were back in 2017 when I was there. But they're not part of the EU anymore, so yeah. And I also heard from the British woman from a video from her YouTube channel on having travelers' health insurance when you travel to different countries, and it's dangerous to travel to other countries without travelers' health insurance. And I think I heard someone from Canada brought this up. Yeah, I heard someone from Canada talked about this. They brought it up in a conversation on a video on their YouTube channel. Oh yeah, I left something out about the Eurotunnel. Okay, when you drive your car onto a train car that houses cars that the train pulls and takes from one side of the English Channel to the other through the Eurotunnel underneath the English Channel. And when you drive your car onto the train car, a voice over the intercom will warn people to roll the windows down on their car, turn off their gas supply on their car, or shutting off their car and not letting it run. And don't stand between vehicles during the crossing. And all of this is repeated again in French. Speaking of French, I've been putting off my French lessons. Yeah, I have been learning French. I think I was learning it, by going online to YouTube and finding videos on YouTube that teaches the French language, and I've been learning French from that and from native on an app on my old smartphone, which I don't have anymore. I have my mind somewhere else. I've been getting my eye off the ball of learning French online. So I gotta be full time with this and stop cutting corners and stop cutting corners and skipping out on my French lessons, because I need to learn French. I need to learn this language. Français. Bonjour, monsieur. Anglais, non français. Anglais, no français. République français. République français. République français. République français. Hope I said it right. I know any of you who are watching, or not watching, any of you who are listening, none of you probably don't speak French anyway. You guys been hearing me saying some French words in these videos that I crank out for this YouTube channel. I know a lot of you don't care, but hey, that's fine. Nouvelle Paris. I just say New Paris in French. So yeah, I think that's all I gotta say in this New Manchester podcast. So I'm thinking about drinking wine. More specifically, French wine, Beaujolais, French wine. I heard that if you drink wine, it's good for your heart. And that's all good for me, because even though I have a strong, healthy heart, if I drink wine, wine can make my heart even more healthier. But I don't want to be a sloppy wine drinking drunk. So it's like this. If you drink some wine, you gotta take a little sip of wine. Don't drink the entire glass or the entire bottle, because if you do that, you'll be drunk. You'll be intoxicated. And that's not a good thing. I remember I was on this horrible Italian flight, ITA Airways, a flight that I was on, which I flew from New York City in New York in the U.S. to Rome, Italy, to get on that cruise ship in the Mediterranean at some cruise ship dock somewhere in Italy. You had to sail from Italy to Greece, Cyprus, and Turkey, and I was going to go to Israel, but due to that war between Israel and Hamas, couldn't go there. And yeah, I was right near Israel while I was in Turkey. This was back in 2023. Well, anyway, while I was on that ITA Airways flight, They were serving some wine. The stewardess was serving some wine along with Coke Zero, and I wish they had some Perrier on there, but no Perrier, because that's an Italian flight, not a French flight. I guess if I was on a French flight, they'll be serving Perrier along with French wine. But they had some wine on there, Italian wine, and I told my dad I wanted some wine, and he said no. Don't want to get into that. I don't want to explain why my dad said no to this, but I'm a grown man. I can do whatever I want. If I want to drink some wine, so be it. So yeah, thinking about drinking some wine, and I'm thinking about it. So yeah, you know, if I make a decision, I probably will do a video about showing me drinking some wine. I don't know if YouTube will allow this or not. So yeah. All right. So that's the end of this Radio New Manchester podcast. Okay. More videos to come. All right. Cheers and au revoir. Merci, merci beaucoup. Au revoir. Oh yeah, one more thing. On me talking about um currency problems like with the UK and countries like Germany, Deutschland. Um, I got this wrong. It doesn't matter if not matter. Well, if you have euros on you, this is according to that British woman. If you have euros on you, some countries in Europe are very, very funny with currency. I guess with euros or currency that's that's no good. I don't know. So just want to clear the air on that. I just heard that some countries in Europe are very funny with currency when you want to buy something. Because I had euros and I was in Germany in 2017, and I bought some things with some euros. I didn't have no problems. So yeah, I just want to clear the air on that. All right, goodbye.